欢迎收看今天文茜的世界周报。先祝所有的人新春开工大吉！这是在旧历过年之后，我们第一次为大家制作文茜的世界周报。在过年期间，除夕、大年初一，还有过年之前，我们曾经做了一系列全球趋势的报道。在这个趋势的报道里头，我们说到了民主政体正受到了攻击，民主价值正受到了怀疑，而我们正在迎接独裁者的春天，也就是独裁者将可以为所欲为。本周最令人震撼的事情是俄罗斯的良心纳瓦尼，他2月15号出庭的时候，健康仍然相当的良好。他的母亲去探望他的时候，他没有任何的问题。在星期五昨天的时刻，突然就猝死了。他出庭的第2天就突然猝死了。他被关在哪里呢？他被关在一个靠近北极的监狱。他今年只有47岁。过去在苏联时期，有一位非常著名的学者，称之为叫沙卡洛夫，我们说他是苏联的良心。而苏联倒塌之后，俄罗斯的良心就是纳瓦尼。过去10多年来，他是最重要的普丁的批判者。事实上，他可以选择不要坐牢。在2021年前，他得到了德国的政治庇护。可是他看到整个普丁的威权体制越来越走向独裁，越来越不可忍受的时候，他勇敢地搭上了从德国到俄罗斯的火车。他知道这一趟他再也不会回来，而且很快的即将进入监狱里面。他还经常不断的透过他的律师，把他的意见交由律师放在 Instagram， 他放在他的社群媒体上，用各种方式继续的批评普丁。他告诉俄罗斯人，你们不要恐惧，不要向独裁者投降。而他的母亲说，我不希望听到任何的哀悼。我2月12号在狱中见到他的时候，他还活着，他很健康，他很快乐，他知道他要做什么。也就是2021年，他选择回到俄罗斯，和俄罗斯的人民站在同一块土地里头奋战，面对独裁者普丁，然后最终他突然的死亡。美国的总统拜登直接的批评他，俄罗斯反对派领袖纳瓦尼之死直接的批评普丁，普丁必须要负责任。乌克兰的总统泽连斯基说，他可以 kill anybody， 他可以杀死任何人。按照过去他的记录，他杀死过记者，杀死过特工，用各种不同的方式，他可以杀死任何人 whatever whoever he want， 他想杀死任何人他都会做到。而47岁的纳瓦尼全名叫做 Alexei Navalny， 他是在散步之后突然感觉不舒服，然后就立即失去了知觉。人们觉得是发生了什么事情。第一个，当然现在俄罗斯当地在靠近北京那里很寒冷，但是以他47岁，他并没有明显的任何疾病。是什么原因他可以度过了最冷的冬天，而在那一天突然的死亡？多数的人认为他最后的加害者应该是一个悬案，但是大多数的人心中都直指是普丁的特工组织杀了他。
CNN has learned that Alexei Navalny has died. That's according to the Russian prison service.
One of those state media sources talks about how he went for a walk on the morning of February the 16th, lost consciousness, and they were unable to revive him. Where is he? Well, recently he was moved to the Yamalo-Nenetsk autonomous region. That's up near the Arctic Circle to serve out some of his term in the correctional facility number 3 there. A very harsh regime. The temperatures, the conditions, frankly, for many inmates, a threat to their health by itself.
距离俄罗斯总统大选只剩下1个月，此时却传出普丁的头号政敌纳瓦尼在狱中身亡，享年47岁。
A man who survived a poisoning attempt inside of Russia on internal flight, fled to Germany to convalesce, and then returned to Russia to find his immediate arrest. An interesting point to raise here, though, that essentially he was still part of the information system, able to communicate with the outside world through social media, but once in prison, perhaps represented less of an acute threat to the Kremlin. And the fact, indeed, that he has lost his life in prison now, fingers will point towards Moscow, certainly behind all of that, if indeed there is confirmation.
纳瓦尼被视为俄罗斯近10年来普丁最激烈的批评者。2021年，他自愿从德国返国后，被以欺诈和其他罪名判处11年半的刑期。去年底，他一度下落不明，随后被证实移监到北极流放地，在那儿又被加处了19年徒刑。
I had the opportunity to talk to him while he was making this decision. I asked him, why would you go back to Russia? When you know the risk, you know that you've been poisoned with Novichok, you know that it's only by the grace of God and one pilot who made a decision to land a plane early that you are still alive. Why would you still go back with all the risks that that entails? And I remember it so vividly. He said to me, I would never give Putin such a gift as to not return to my country, to not continue to serve the Russian people.
由于纳瓦尼的死因迄今不明，俄罗斯调查委员会表示，已经针对死因展开调查。这样的结局让人很有既视感。
Running against Vladimir Putin often ends badly for those who have tried. At best, critics are disqualified, and at worst, assassinated. In the last decade alone, high-profile opponents Boris Nemtsov shot and killed, Vladimir Kara-Murza poisoned and jailed, as was Alexei Navalny. Mr. Nadezhdin chooses his words carefully to try and stay in the race and out of prison or worse.
现在最该感到害怕的人应该是他，以反战闻名的前俄罗斯国会议员、有意参选总统的纳德兹丁。
For weeks, his supporters have queued in the freezing snow. Thousands upon thousands of Russians registering their names to back his long-shot presidential bid. The sheer number of them so unexpected, extra sign-up centres had to be added in Moscow. This is the man they believe should be president, Boris Nadezhdin, a 60-year-old political veteran, a guitarist with a keen eye for social media, but most notably a pacifist who opposes the Kremlin's war in Ukraine and isn't afraid to say so. This is him last month visiting the wives of Russian soldiers and telling reporters the country wants the so-called special military operation to stop. But his presidential race may end before it really begins. He submitted the over 100,000 signatures required to run last week. But Russia's Central Election Commission says it found irregularities in his registrations and is threatening to disqualify him.
毕竟活动最终解释权归主办单位所有。
This is how the official ballot will look in March 2024.
Is that this is the least amount of registered presidential candidates in Russia since 2008. In Russia's last presidential elections in 2018, there were 8 names on the ballot. So this makes it obvious that the Kremlin this time around made sure that no name on the ballot would be a real threat to Putin or harbor any anti-war sentiments.
纳德兹丁之所以令普丁忌惮。
Nadezhdin has proved particularly popular among younger urban Russians. Observers say he represents a potential threat to the Kremlin.
There is no doubt he could collect 10 or 15% of the vote. In no way will he become president or even be serious opposition for Putin. But this would be extremely inconvenient for the Kremlin because it exploits the idea of the cohesion.
For many, Boris Nadezhdin represents a ray of hope when it comes to change in a normal life in Russia.
I want calm and faith. I want a bright future where we give birth to children in a free country, let them be free for once.
I want a normal life so that everyone can have it, this normal life.
不同于纳瓦尼是以示威抗议唤起国内的反普丁声浪，纳德兹丁的连署过程虽然平和，对普丁的杀伤力却是最强。
Потому что мне Путин очень не нравится. Поэтому я Надеждина плохо знаю, Путина не выношу.
Я хочу какую-то альтернативу уже нашему президенту. Мне кажется, уже прокис, старый. Он, кажется, уже не... уже маленький делает не то, что должен. Страну ведет не в то направление, по моему мнению.
纳德兹丁目前还只是被禁止参选，他表示会向最高法院提起上诉。
But aren't you scared because you've seen what happens to the president's opponents?
I know for 20 years I'm in a position and I am still alive, I am still free, and I suppose it's due to my style of politics. I always run in absolute accordance with Russian constitution, in absolute accordance with Russian laws.
Right, so you're very careful.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very careful. I never criticized Mr. Putin personally. Never.
Right.
Because I'm sure that it's not a good idea. I criticize his politics. I criticize his decision, but not him.
然而，在纳瓦尼猝死之后，没人敢保证纳德兹丁可以安全下庄。